Good afternoon, everyone. It's Miss Wright with your geography lesson for the day. And in today's lesson, we are going to be having a little think about what it would be like to live in the Arctic. Let me just get up what you'll be working on today. Now, the first thing I want you to have a little bit of a think about is where do you think these photos were taken? Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of seconds just to have a look and maybe tell the person next to you or jot down on a piece of paper where you think we are. Off you go. Okay, then, I wonder if you guessed right. We are in Greenland and we are in one of the most remote areas of Greenland. So, if we have a look at our world map just here, I've circled Greenland, and if we zoom right in, we are just here on the coast. Okay, one of these really, really tiny places just here. Now, it has a population of 345 people, which isn't very many people at all. And it's been known as one of the most difficult places to get to on Earth. It's very, very remote, and it would take you lots of different modes of transport to get there. Okay. What I've also attached here is a link for you to do a little bit of research if you wanted to on that. Now, the region is known for its wildlife. Okay, so we've got lots of polar bears, lots of seals, and also lots of musk oxen, which is just here. Now, I'd never seen one of these before, so it was really interesting to do a little bit of research on it. And this is one of the animals that they enjoy eating. Now, one of the other interesting things about Greenland are the houses they choose to live in. I know Mr. Heason spoke to you a little bit about this one a couple of weeks ago, but their houses are very different to ours here in Derby. Okay, the Inuit houses are simple and easy to build as the weather and seasons changed. So, for 4,000 years, the Inuits lived in tents, and they're things that we kind of looked at in photos when we did our word of the day on Inuits. Okay, and occasionally they also lived in igloos, so those sort of ice and snow caves almost. Okay. So for building materials, the Inuit people use driftwood, bones, and furs from animals that have been hunted or captured because they're very much, they believe that everything should be used. So every part of the animal, if they eat, they need to use the rest of it in some sort of way. So an explorer's arrival in Greenland created a new style of home, which were wooden houses that were almost sent over to them as a flat pack. So a bit like when you get things from IKEA, if you've got some IKEA furniture at home, everything arrives flat and then you have to build them up. So that's sort of how these houses were made. The colourful tradition of the characteristic brightly coloured houses began here. So the colours are really practical because they have a different colour for different types of things. So houses that people lived in were red, hospitals were yellow, police stations were black, and the telephone company was green, and fish factories were blue. So it was really interesting and very, I imagine, easy way of locating different parts of the town because you could see the different coloured houses. Now, would you like to live in one of these? I really would. I would like to live in one of those beautiful red houses. Now then, we've done a little bit of research on how they get their food in Greenland, and we know it's very, very different to what we do here in Derby. So whereas we would go to the shops, to the butchers, things like that, they hunt for their food. So residents, even though they have got electricity, they do still need to hunt for food, and they tend to use dog sledding to help them do this, okay, to get them to different areas of the island. They eat the food they have hunted from the tundra, so whelk, reindeer, and Arctic char, which is this fish just here. They have that, and then they dress in the polar bear fur coats and sealskin gloves. So almost like what I said before, how they don't waste any part of the animal and they always find a use for it. There's a couple of videos here if you did want to have a look and kind of see how they use the hunting equipment and what they do to gather their food. Now, this is very different to Derby. I had a little bit of a look at the weather they experience in Greenland, and it does not get any warmer than 10 degrees. Okay, so that's very, very cold, even in the warmest summer months. So the air quality in Greenland is among the best in the world due to the country's geographical position in the high north. Okay, so the temperature in Greenland is slightly dependent on where you are on the island and which time of year. So almost the same as here. We know that the temperature is different depending on what time of year you are in the UK or what area of the UK we're in, just like when we watch the weather on the news. So this is where we were just looking at here, and you can see these are very, very cold temperatures. And we can see the warmest they get to is this one just here, which is 3.5 degrees Celsius. So again, that's much, much colder than we experience here in Derby. Okay, then now we're going to have a little bit of a think about human geography. So that's what the human's effect is on the world. Now, because in Greenland they do hunt, this does have a negative effect, a bad effect on the wildlife that currently lives in Greenland. Now, they have a national park, which is just here. If you did want to explore it, just follow that link and it will kind of take you around the park. And there are lots of polar bears that live within this park. As their food sources and what they're eating is getting lower, it's getting harder to find, it means that they're coming out into the community to find food to eat. So you can sort of see in this picture here that unfortunately the polar bears had to dig through the rubbish to find something to eat. Now, obviously, this isn't just the humans that live in Greenland's fault. This is a global warming, okay? It's our effect on the world and our choices that we make. What do you know that we can do to help slow down global warming? Now then, what we're going to do next is using the internet and the sort of information that I've included on these slides, we're going to gather some information to make our own spider diagram. And I've given you a couple of categories, so things like weather, food, human geography, and houses and jobs. If you wanted to use the facts from the slides, you're more than welcome to. But if you wanted to use things like encyclopedias or the internet to gather some more information, you are more than welcome to. Final question. What do you think? Now, I would like to know if you would like to live in Greenland and why. Now, I know that I would love to live in one of those little red houses, but I also know that I would struggle to hunt for my own food because I am a vegetarian. And I know that being in Derby, I'm very lucky to be able to choose and select what I want to eat. But if I grew up in Greenland, that would be slightly different. We look forward to seeing all of your responses on the portfolio section of Class Dojo. We'll see you later.